Tonight. I know that this is the last week of class, but spring is finally here, at least for today it is, and we are happy that you're here to celebrate one of our last events for Asian American Heritage Month. A special thanks goes out to the Rainbow Center, the Filipino American Student Association, yay! Can I have some? And a relatively new group on campus, Queer, Asian, and Allies. So in our program tonight, we are very pleased to have an encore presentation from QAA. If you attended Asia Night last month, you know that they rocked the house, and it was only fitting that they came back again. So please give it up to the members of Queer, Asian, and Allies.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. I am a beautiful misfit. I represent the voices of the voiceless, everyone who felt worthless that society can't address, because this system is made to oppress.
I worry. I can't meet others' expectations every time I take a breath. I try not to feel shame and address the feelings my family tries to impress. I say I will never give up this time, and instead, I want to make myself proud by pushing social progress. I'm here telling you the misfits are standing for love.
We're here telling you the misfits are standing for love.
As each day, each semester crawls by, I worry sometimes that people know me as nothing more than what catches their eye. Yet, there are times I can see love, unlimited. Please, let this love grow. For I am human, processional, seeds I've just begun to sow. In fact, I am a drop in the waterfall, and together we're a big splash.
Beautiful misfits unite, haters feel the whiplash.
I pretend to be strong and confident, yet on occasion, I feel like I have nowhere to go, like I'm not fully queer, not fully Asian. I fear who I am will fade away forgotten, and these pervasive thoughts make me cry in self-pity, pathetic and alienated. I say only I can create my own happiness. We say as misfits,
we can create our own happiness.
I struggle with misconceptions. I don't fit into this heteronormative description. My culture has an inscription to ignore my affliction.
Do you understand my addiction?
I'm in a tough position, a decision where tradition dictates who I am.
You're wrong.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Done with being told I'm a disruption to society. Feeling suffocated, I can't express myself my way. Gotta make change, thinking waves.
Go ahead and stare.
We're queer, and I'm staying here, no need to be scared.
We're here, we're queer, we're no longer scared. I am a beautiful misfit.
I wonder when I'll be comfortable in the skin that I'm in.
And begin to be me.
To be free of my own opinions and see the beauty that I embody. I pretend it doesn't bother me to not fit in with Black society. I worry that I'm not Black enough, and they'll turn their backs on me. I understand there's no cookie-cutter version of me,
And I accept that reality.
I
am a beautiful misfit.
I feel like I'm missing something. I feel the cultural shame sting, and I'm tense like a coiled spring, ready to spring open with new wings of freedom, where my cultural inheritance is finally a part of my being. I touch and barely graze my cultural identity, and I understand that not everyone's the same, but
We say we should celebrate our differences anyway. We hope to feel at home in our bodies someday.
I hear hope echoing from the lowest valleys of life. I feel light radiate from those I trust, as if I'm solar powered and they keep me going. I want to be a source of happiness and pride. Free as a feather, I touch the power that keeps my community together.
We dream of being comfortable anywhere and with anyone. We want to do away with tolerance and teach acceptance. We are all beautiful misfits.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is kind. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is patient. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is kind. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is patient. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is kind. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is patient. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is kind. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is patient. I'm not crying, I'm sorry. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is kind.
Thank you, queer, Asian, and allies. Once more, give it up for... Thank you very much. This past April 8th marked the 25th anniversary of the Asian American Cultural Center. Many of you joined us that day for our great open house celebration. Throughout this month, the Center and the Pan-Asian Council organizations have hosted programs and events, and just last night we honored our graduating seniors who have made significant contributions to the Cultural Center and the Asian American community. When planning our anniversary celebration, Sheila and I knew that there was one person we had to bring back to campus, and that is the one, the only, Regie Cabico. We first met Regie in 1996, and please don't tell me you weren't born then, when he was part of a theater group based in New York called Peeling the Banana, an exploration of contemporary Asian American identities through physical theater and improvisation work. Reggie's original work was fresh, engaging, thought-provoking, somber, and also hysterical. His Yukon audiences just couldn't get enough, and he returned on many occasions to be an Asianite MC, to help open the Rainbow Center in 1998, to be a presenter and performer at the Representing Filipino Americans conference sponsored by the Center and the Studies Institute in 2002. Regie Cabico is a spoken word pioneer, having won the Nuyorican Poets Cafe Grand Slam, and later taking top prizes in 3 national poetry slams. Television credits include two seasons of HBO's Def Poetry Jam, NPR's Snap Judgment, and MTV's Free Your Mind. His work appears in over 30 anthologies, including Out Loud, Voices from the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, Spoken Word Revolution, and the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Regie received the 2006 Writers for Writers Award from Poets and Writers for his work teaching at-risk youth at Bellevue Hospital. As a theater artist, he received 3 New York Innovative Theater Award nominations for his work in Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind, with a win for the Best Performance Art Production, the Kenyon Review, recently named Regie Cabico the Lady Gaga of Poetry. And he has been listed in Bust Magazine's 100 Men We Love. He has shared the stage with Patti Smith, Allen Ginsberg, and through Howard Zinn's Portraits Project at New York University, he has also performed with Stanley Tucci, Jesse Eisenberg, and Lupe Fiasco. 10 years ago, he left the frenetic streets of New York and now teaches and spreads his talent and creativity in the Washington, D.C. School District. Please give Regie a great UConn welcome.
Let's give it up for Angela Rolla, everybody. Wow, also to Sheila Kuko. Let's give it up for Sheila. It is true, I started my Asian American performance university career performing here at UConn. Angela called me, and the center was just starting, and I was just starting. So I feel like Angela, the center, Sheila, and I have been on this 25-year journey. I never thought that I would be a poet. I just wanted to do musical theater. And I got tired of playing Chino from West Side Story. Chino doesn't have to do anything, he just shoots Tony at the ends. And so what kind of part is that? And I knew that I could be more than Chino, so I started to write poems and I performed them. And it is just emotional for me to be back. And it's the last time I was here was during the Civil War, was it? No, it wasn't. It was, the cows were being milked on campus when I was here last. I'm hoping to do a little retrospective of some of the work that I performed and that jump-started me, but I'm also interested in doing some of the other work 25 years later. So I'm going to start with this piece. It's called Triggers in 5 Acts. And as I said to the students and to Angela, Sheila, and Merce, it's like when I first started to write, I was full of rage not being Asian enough in the eyes of casting directors. And then I thought I wouldn't have to write about race and sexuality because the trans community and gender has been the new voice. And so I was trying to give platform for that in the queer community. But now, with this new administration, everyone is so laser-eyed and furious. So I started to write the series called Triggers in 5 Acts. And it's all of those awkward moments that are kind of offensive, but you just subliminate in the moment. So I'm trying to remember them all. I'm sure that by the time I'm finished with this series, it'll be like triggers in like 300 acts. It'll just be like long and long. So triggers in 5 acts. Act 1, another operatic drama of the Asian diaspora in Reston, Virginia. The theater usher glares, her skull a cauldron of question marks, scanning by bones, a metal detector. When I stare back, she hands me a program. Are you Hawaiian? I'm Filipino. Her eyes dilate and rattle like tiki salt and pepper shakers. Oh, well, we did Beauty and the Beast, and our belle was Chinese. I didn't ask if she was Alaskan. And though I might look Hawaiian, what makes her a Hawaiian expert? Did I make your space a tribal wonderland? Shall I play bell for you on my ukulele? The audience finds their seats. The overture stops as the purple lights go down. Act 2, a brown and brown racial misidentification at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. I graduate towards the Hall of Nations to catch my students perform their poems. Turning to the guard, I ask, "Where's the spoken word open mic?" He stares at me as if I am a breathing death certificate scrawled in hieroglyphics. We stand on the red foyer, our brown faces communing, toddlers wearing the same Pokemon Pikachu costume on Halloween. I ask again, the poetry, open mic? and he directs me through the backstage labyrinth on an elevator going up. The doors open and I see Japanese women changing in kimonos and bamboo parasols. The dancers stare at me. He apparently thinks I'm going to the Cherry Blossom dance performance. And I feel like Mr. Miyagi popping out of a Johnny Air Cargo mail order package, freezing myself into a pissed off Buto pose as the gusts of cherry blossoms tumble on my skull. Acts 3 and 4, a middle school Shakespearean gender switch that leads to my Jean Valjean soliloquy. The drama teacher wants to produce a female version of Hamlet to a class that can barely stand in a circle. Before you leave, she tells me, I'd like to pick your brain. Now, when a non-person of color tells me that they want to pick my brain, it brings out the Lapu-Lapu Magellan warrior in me. Yes? Regie, I need ways of teaching gender and sexuality to the students. Can you go find exercises on doing that? It's just that I know you're in that world. You know that world? Part of that world? What world? The Little Mermaids? So now I'm your gender Suryap? Shall I just ride my unicorn and call Caitlyn Jenner? So now, if we were producing an Asian version of Cinderella, you'd probably want me to fetch a pumpkin-colored rickshaw and a Tai Chi glass slipper. Oh, let me be your gay cis male Pocahontas as I run through all the rainbow colors of the wind to tell you what it's like to be a woman in a male role. No problem, I reply. I have passed for Tibetan in Manhattan, Peruvian in the gay bar, Bombay in my father's barrios of Pangasinan, Chi-Chi in Scarface, Japanese at the Black Pride Parade, every Uber driver 6 degrees of separation, and that guy on Lost. I'll never be fully American or fully Filipino. I am a poet who wants to find a Tinder match that ignites the rest of my life. I'm addicted to people's stories and platforms to unheard voices. As many times as I've been mistaken, I've had my own missteps. I've been told my Tina Turner imitations are cultural misappropriations. My poems have been called out for being gender conformative and biphobic. But I struggle to do the work, to dialogue, and to listen. But sometimes I want to throw my arms in the air and give up in a world that is laser-eyed and furious. Act 5, the reality show in real time we are all in, and you can't turn off because tweet assaults keep dancing in our heads, and I have nightmares of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir chasing me like children of the corn, while the real school children are afraid their families will vanish. After the election, I host a queer storytelling open mic in Birmingham, Alabama. This was right after the last election, and the riots have just begun. I asked the performers how they feel about the results. Well, Regie, we're kind of glad this happened. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? And I can hear the Hitchcock string strike the back of my neck. And they say, Regie, what you're fearing is what we've been living with on a daily basis. And I think about what I learned from my theater company. People cast their vote for people who are closer to them, not people who are further away. Thank you so much. Thank you. If you're Filipino, make some noise. If you're Asian, make some noise. If you're queer, make some noise. If you want to make out with someone Filipino and queer, make some noise. All right, see me after the show, Elsa. Oh, Lord. I am Regie Cabico. I live in Washington, D.C. I'm single and available. I think the reason why I'm single is that I have a hard time telling guys that I'm attracted to them. Usually what I do is I'd write little notes, or I'll send queer comic books, or I'll bake cookies. And that's really great, but that's what a girl does in high school, you know? Putting things in guys' lockers. And I am not a high school girl anymore. So I met this guy in the summer, and he's from New Orleans. He's studying to be a lawyer. He's very athletic. He gardens. He loves dogs. He loves poetry. We met in an open mic, and we were talking, and you know, I could feel this connection happening, and I'm like, Regie, why don't you just call him up and just, you know, just get together? That would be the mature thing. Why don't you just meet for a drink somewhere? And so I'm like gonna do that. So this is in July in Washington, D.C. It's like a total heat wave. We're meeting at this bar, and we are talking, and it's going really good. We're looking into each other's eyes. We're totally mirroring each other. We're doing like a little dance. And I am like Ariel the Little Mermaid. I am like looking into him, and I can hear all of the sea creatures in the bars saying, kiss him, kiss him, kiss him. And so as I'm doing this, I'm about to kiss him, and all of a sudden his ex-boyfriend, this very handsome Puerto Rican guy, comes into the bar, and he says, Regie, sorry, I just have to talk with him, this guy. And I'm like, why is this happening to me? Like, why? This is my big moment, my big romantic moment in the bar, and why is this happening? So I wrote this poem. It's called He's Gonna Fuck Him. And I'm really excited because it's now published in Monologues for Actors of Color, edited by Roberta Uno. So I'm really excited that there might be young Filipino actors performing my pain to get into grad school. So I hope that my pain will help other queer Asian guys make it into theater school. So he's gonna fuck him. I can taste it. And why did we have to meet in a bar? And why am I one of two brown guys in pursuit of a white guy? Oh, yeah, they fucked a year ago. My fingers unfurl to Wolverine claws. Another Oriental diva stabs herself in the breast. I'm a brown fucking swan, and my understudy is another colonized U.S. territory. May there be fireworks and fury to be celebrated in their tongues. I reach for my Captain Morgan's and orange juice and slam it down in the bar like a shard of sunrise. Maybe he's in love with him. Maybe he's not. And when he's done studying for his law exam, he will flash his gumbo smile at me. All his tricks drift down a bayou. Orpheus rises and can't believe this shit. He really is gonna fuck him. Puerto Rican guy lives in Logan Circle, but I hope the air conditioning breaks in the storm. May the electricity be damned in Logan Circle. But I am not afraid of comparisons. I know who I am. I am Regie motherfucking Cabico. I am kind, I'm smart, and I'm important. I did not just quote Viola Davis from The Help. Oh, Viola Davis, give me the power to be fierce. Nina Simone, belt me a new dawn. Tina Turner, give me the strength to strut Proud Mary on this cruisy asphalt. And this is for Asian guys who have considered suicide when the guy you thought would be your summer romance leaves you for another brown guy like a bag of hot Skittles on the dance floor. We were gonna have a miraculous kind of loving. We were gonna take back the oil spills and hold back the levees, but no. He chose the crotch-grabbing guy he fucked last year. Mermaids sing Hans Christian Andersen sea chanties in my tears, and day is rising like a shroud around a death-stricken heart. Thank you. So, does everybody know their astrological sign? On the count of three, please yell out your astrological sign. 1, 2, 3. So this piece is called Godiva Dates and a One-Night Stands. I cannot afford Godiva during these economic times. So it's now called Lint's Signature Chocolate Collection at the CVS that I bought. And a One-Night Stands. So everything is true here. Is there a Libra in the house? Libra. We rode the Ferris wheel at Toys R Us together. It was a Moulin Rouge moment till you threw up. Chocolates. Is there a Virgo in the house? Virgo. You were the Russian psychic tarot card reader. We saw Lord of the Rings together. In the darkness of the theater, we felt each other's Middle Earth. You only went out with me because your last boyfriend was a Filipino nurse. Chocolate? Is there a Gemini in the house? Gemini. So we can make this a triple experience because Gemini is so multiple that way. Gemini, you told me you were gay, then you said you were bi, and then you said you were buffet. And I said, what the hell is buffet? And you said a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I said, I am not a little bit of this or a little bit of that. I am appetizer, entree, and desserts. All the men in my life have been so liquid, I might as well date a bottle of Evian water. I might as well fuck a swimming pool. Chocolate.
Thank you.
Chocolate.
Thank you.
Chocolate. Is there a slut in the house? Slut in the house. It was the look you gave me, the glance you gave me, that I swear to God said I do. You don't get chocolate because you're a one-night stand. I know, I'm just trying to save it. Trying to save it. Is there an Aquarius in the house? Aquarius. So I was dating this Aquarius guy, and he had all these sex toys, like in this like crate from like the Container Store, like with wheels. And he wanted to try them on me, and I felt like a table from IKEA that he was trying to assemble. Chocolate. Is there a Taurus in the house? Taurus. So the Filipino community of DC felt sorry for me, so they tried to set me up with another Filipino guy. And they're like, you guys will be perfect together. And they kept calling me, they're like, did you guys do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? And I felt like a panda at the zoo. Chocolate. Is there a Pisces in the house? Pisces. Love is as blinding to me as the crack of dawn to a vampire, and I am dying in a coffin that is this empty box of chocolate, which is a metaphor for my broken, lonely heart. Sorry, Ryan, but we can go shopping for clothes at H&M if you like. Thank you. So people ask me how to write a slam poem, and all you have to do is have one really bad day, and if you write everything out in detail, and if you perform it in a rhythmic manner, you're going to have a slam poem. So, My sister in Los Angeles is fucking her roommate Francis. He has big white pearly teeth and 1,130 friends on Facebook. My intern is auctioning himself at B-Bar for leukemia research. My house guest on unemployment has a love affair with a 23-year-old and is plunging the toilets because the pipes may have frozen over. Last night he made a chicken with glazed figs. The smell is on me like fast sex at a restroom gas station in New Jersey. My wireless doesn't work, so I bought a 100-foot Ethernet cord that looks like life support running through the townhouse. Stray cats are peeing on my porch and following me like the sound of zombie babies crying, bottle, bottle. When asked if I would auction myself as a date for leukemia research, I'd see if I did. I'd have to break my money market account and pay myself just to date myself, and then I can go home and jack off in the name of leukemia research. I am having dinner with Kush, his wife, and his ambiguous friend. And Kush is telling the story about how he stuck a toothbrush up his ass when he was 12, and I'm wondering if he is telling this anal story to get his friend to come out of the closet. My house guest texted me that he ate my Girl Scout cookies. I said, what the fuck, those are my Thin Mints. Don't you fucking touch my Thin Mints. I give you my house and you eat my Girl Scout cookies. Where are you gonna get me Girl Scout cookies? It's December. I am at the Looking Glass bar, and this woman named Grace punches me in the heart punch drunk to say we're neighbors. She wants to invite me over for brunch, and I just want to say, you know what? You invaded my personal space, and I just want to feed her through a paper shredder and feed her to the cats who keep pissing on my porch. It's been 2 months before these arms have hugged another person. It's been too long since these lips have kissed another person. It's been too long since this soul has skipped a beat for another person. It's been too long since this soul has skipped a beat for another person. By soul, I mean the silver that God has placed inside me. Its weight runs through me like schools of dumb fish, complicated as tiny buttons, deeper than the front trousers of the tricks I have rolled with. I cannot toss myself into the East River, though my soul falls from heaven in a shower of saxophone and smoke. By soul, I mean I am lonelier than the iron rails of this bridge, echoing the rush of taxi cabs and a good hand job. The moon is stuck flat to the sky. The warehouses are lit by flames of vodka. By soul, I mean I am bargaining my soul for grace of crows, singing between neon and this blackness. By soul, I mean in a hotel room where a man places his lips to your ears as if they were tiny candles, extinguishing the night with his kisses. By soul, I mean, God, make me a wind instrument so I can toss myself into the East River. The street lamps are howling for the first slivers of light. By light, I mean falling off a bridge, wrapped in the arms of a God who knows your name. So people ask, what are my inspirations? Falling in love, breakups. I don't know if you've ever been, how many of you are in a long distance love affair? Let me see hands in long distance. Long distance, it's really hard, especially East Coast, West Coast. So I think the problem with guys, see the thing is, I don't want to have a boyfriend. I would just like to have sex with someone on a regular basis, whose name I know, that I don't have to pay for, who's not married and is conscious. Is that too much to ask? Really? So I also think the problem is that I tend to date guys who don't know that we're actually dating, which can be problematic. So I can fall in love easily with a poet, and I fell in love with this guy from San Francisco. And so this poem is for all of you who fall in love long distance and have a hard time saying that you fall in love with someone. And I think I sort of blame my Filipino Catholic immigrant parents for their lack of communication skills. And I blame the Spanish Inquisition and American colonialism and the diet of Spam and copious amounts of white rice on a daily basis. In the porno of my life, you'd be the never-before-seen bonus feature. And if masturbation made one blind, I'd keep jacking off to you so I could surrender all my senses of the world to your descriptions. Your poetry is so lonely, Orpheus wants you to be his lyricist. I feel affection, not affection. Not that I don't want to fuck you, I want to feck you, which is as close to fucking as I can get or say. See, fucking is easy. It's like sucking a 24-hour Slurpee. But I'd rather curl with you as you speak to me of wedding bands and we channel our inner Clive Owen and slap each other till the moon smirks fecklessly and we're lying like empty salt and pepper shakers till the loneliness is seasoned in feckable affection. In Ireland, feck means fuck, so I'm a brown leprechaun without a pot to piss or a rainbow to fuck. The Scots refer to feck as worthless and irresponsible, and yes, I have reached the feckful pinnacle of my life. I have fucked over mussels and towels from Montreal to Seattle and given more head than a soccer player scoring points in the nets. I have sucked victory and swallowed so much rejection. I left Simon Cowell's nipples hard and Rihanna screaming next. I have fucked all the male Mexican folklorico dancers in North America till I was a broken Filipino piñata. And I have fucked so deeply, my penis invented new prepositional phrases. And I have fucked so profoundly, my penis turned into a pair of lotus petals. I am afraid that after we fucked, you just lay down by my side like an empty Starbucks cup staring at a lamp from IKEA. If only I could fall into you like chalk, I'd wear your halo and know what it feels like when an Aztec's heart is ripped out. And in those tequila nights when you text me, miss you, because you're stumbling in the tenderloin like a colonized junkie looking for flesh. I'm in DuPont Circle like a lost taqueria truck texting you back, wish we were drinking together. And when you text me back, wish we were in Spain or the moon. I want to tell you fiercely that the world is sturdy and that poetry can hold us up. Angela should have said trigger warning, lots of sexual innuendo. So I perform, I travel, I have a nonstop schedule. April is probably one of the most difficult months because nobody wants a poet in August or September. They want poets in National Poetry Month. And it's also Asian Month. And it's also taxes. So it gets really, really tiring. And sometimes I forget where I'm going. Or sometimes I'll forget that my iced coffee was in the men's room. So thanks for getting my coffee. So I was in Union Square. And before I was supposed to go to my next trip, I was going to Canada, to Calgary. I was sitting in Union Square on the steps in front of the Whole Foods, with my rolly suitcase and my bags. And I was just I closed my eyes and I fell asleep. When you're dreaming and you're falling asleep. And then all of a sudden, my cell phone rings. And so I wake up and I see that it's one of my youth slam poets, Safia. And I say, oh my God, Safia, are you all right? And she goes, oh my God, Regie, I'm at Union Square, and I saw this homeless man that looks like Regie. And it's you. Hi, Regie, take a photo. I'm gonna Snapchat this on Instagram. So I have the homeless, tired look. you know? And so that was like really fun, really embarrassing. So when I get to Calgary, I'm in my hotel room and I get a message from a young poet named Apple. And he says, Mr. Cabico, I know that you're in Calgary. You're one of my favorite poets. I really love the moon imagery that you have in your poems. And I'm like, wow, okay. Thank you, Apple. The moon is a great, poetic device. And he's like, I would really like it if you could come up to Banff Mountains to my parents' home, and my parents will treat you to a Canadian Thanksgiving. It would be our honor to have you. And it's like, well, yeah, I just don't really have a car. It's like, well, my limousine driver will get you. And I'm like, what, limousine driver? I'm like, oh my God, hey, hey, hey. And I'm like, this is what I need right now. I need a home-cooked Canadian meal, Thanksgiving in the mountains. I need to just breathe clean air. And to me, this is self-care and healing. So I'm just like so thrilled about this because this doesn't happen. And first of all, I never thought that my poetry was family material. Or like they would be sitting watching like YouTube and like Chromecasting this by their fireplace. It like total baffles me. So like the family's got to be like really with it for like this what appears to be white family, like into what a queer Filipino has to say. So anyway, so the limousine driver like picks me up, and it's sort of this beautiful drive from Calgary up through the mountains. And I'm just sort of like crying of all the tiredness and all the shit in the world. And I'm just like, as the altitude ascends, I am shedding all of the fuck-upness in our administration and in our life, and just being American, and like, why am I in this country? And then I could also hear the spirits and the ancestors, and I can hear like the mountains and white buffalo woman saying, Regie, come, you can come up here. And it's the wind is speaking to me, and I'm just sort of communing in a way that my urban self doesn't. And so as we get closer to Apple's home, I can see that it's not just one home. It's a series of glass homes connected by these intricate tunnels. It looks like Superman's fortress of solitude. I'm like, where is this? It's like some kind of glass compound of like some architectural design like built by aliens. And so I get off and the limousine, and there's just like this beautiful pathway of like carvings and wood carvings of Aboriginal pieces. And in the back, I see a short woman with dark hair, and it's Luella. She's waving at me. That's Apple's mom. And like her arms are open, and she just gives me a hug, and I can just breathe. And she goes, oh, welcome, you're the poet, Mr. Regie, welcome. You're gonna have a beautiful, beautiful Thanksgiving. And I say, oh, in Canada, in the States, we just spend Thanksgiving on one day and that's it, but I just love how generous you are and that you just have it through the weekend. And she goes, oh, Regie, you're so silly. So why don't you just like come into the living room? And the living room is beautiful. There are like 4 fireplaces all around a sunken living room. Everything is sort of this white fur, and it's like all white and wood. And all of a sudden, I meet Apple, and he looks like the mountain prince of Banff. He's like really tall and lean and has piercing black eyes. And I almost like want to bow down to him. It's like I'm in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so Apple is there, and I say, hi, Apple, I'm Regie. And then I hear his dad say, ho, 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 my name is Bob, and I'm so happy that Regie, the funny man poet, is here. Apple, why don't you get a cocktail for our special guest? And so the parents are talking to me, and they're like, we really want to thank you because your poems inspired our son to come out and be proud of who he is being queer. And so we just want to thank you for that. And I'm like, oh, it's seriously, I'm really flattered that the poems are moving for you and that he's very lucky that he has supportive parents. And so I am toasting, and we do a toast, and it's a delicious cocktail. And I say, so Apple, do you want to do creative writing? He goes, with my good looks, I could be a model, or I could be a flight attendant, or I want to be a pet therapist. Okay, well, I'm sure you have the support to do that. Thank you. And then the parents say, well, why don't you get Reggie's room ready for him, Apple? Why don't you go along? And Apple leaves. And so I'm talking with Luella and Bob, and they're saying, oh, Reggie, Bob and I, and he says, go, Luella, just go tell him. We have a strange request for you. We admire you so much, and Apple really admires you, and we would love it if you would have sex with our son, Apple. He's a virgin, and we want you to be his first. Help! What Stephen King movie am I in? It's like, get the fuck out. I'm like, okay, no tea. I'm like, I am looking out at the window and it is snowing hard. I'm looking for my cell phone, trying to call 911. There is no cell reception up here. I am thinking like, spoken word poet, Asian American spoken word legend disappears in Canada. I am the Asian Amelia Earhart. I could see Angela, Rolla, and Sheila doing their go fund him and go find him. Fund him and find him. He's in trouble. He is in trouble. And I am thinking, how is this happening? This is supposed to be like my time to just relax. I felt sex trafficked. How is this happening in the 21st century? Regie Cabico is sex trafficked. I don't know. I hope I live to tell the story. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I turn around and Luella gives me a basket. She goes, here's some condoms and there's some lubricant. It's maple flavored. So I don't really know what to do. So I've got the basket. And this is like The Handmaid's Tale or something. I just don't know where I'm in. It's some sort of like cult, like brainwashing. And I'm thinking, am I being videotaped right now? Like, what is going on? So I'm going through the tunnels, trying like a hamster in a habit trail, trying to find my room. And I could hear some guitar music playing. And so I go into the room, and first of all, there are candles everywhere. And then I see Apple, who is shirtless, playing a guitar. Like, he is like Orpheus, and like he is strumming his sexuality. He is like just, and I'm like, and he says, Reggie, come in. And I'm like, I had a really interesting conversation with your parents, Apple. They want me to have sex with you. And they're like, yeah, man, they don't mind. It would totally be cool. And I'm like, well, I mind, because that's not what I want to do at this point. And I just feel that you will find someone that you will connect with. And I know that you connect through my poetry, but that's not me. If you want to have sex with my poems, here's my chapbook. You can like fuck my chapbook, but you can't have sex with me. And then he says, will you just hold me? Like, okay, I will hold you on the condition that I go back immediately once the snow clears as soon as possible. All right? I will have Thanksgiving and I will hold you, but that's it. And so that's all that happens. We did not tell the parents anything. I don't know what Apple told the parents. And so we're having this Canadian Thanksgiving, and we're talking about all the things that Americans and Canadians talk about the dollar, we talk about Trump, we talk about all of that. And so as I'm about to leave to my room, I can hear Bob's voice say, "Psst, come." And I'm like, I turn around and I see Bob, Luella, and Apple with their arms open, and they hug me. And I try to break out of them. I say, thank you for your hospitality. Yes. We were one of the first Filipino families to move into Clinton, Maryland. It was so long ago we came in on Carabao. I called our entrance the little nipa hut on the prairie. As soon as we moved into our new home, my mom, who was super Catholic, a nurse, and a hypochondriac, started making the sign of the cross with Lysol. Psst, psst. Yes, we were in the middle of Killarney Street as all of the white families stared at us, as my mom went spraying everything with Lysol. I have two sisters named Faith and Charity. My name is Regie. There is no hope in the family. While I was growing up, my mom would say, "Regie, why do you want to sleep over the neighbor's house there? They will murder you. Psst. Regie, why don't you practice your piano lessons?" See, my mom gave me piano lessons because for Filipinos, it was like old-fashioned karaoke. A big hit was Memory from Cats. "Regie, play me the Cats. Your titas and titos are here to hear me sing the Cats." Psst. "Regie, where is this boy?" "Regie, if not play me the Cats, I will not buy you the video game, Pac-Man all the time. Pac-Man, I'm gonna puck your head. Psst, come on now, play the piano." And I'm like, "Okay, Mom, okay." Do 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 do. Midnight, not as someone is crying. I am beautiful then. My mom would sing that song off key while everybody applauded with a plate of pancit noodles, sipping Pepsi and hailing her a Filipina Barbra Streisand. "Benilde Cabico, you sound like Barbra Streisand." Really? You know why it is? It's because every time I play Barbra Streisand's records, her voice is flying out of the speakers, and her voice is going in through my ears and through my body, and my feet become like Barbra Streisand, and my hands become like Barbra Streisand, and my eyes become like Barbra Streisand. And I could hear the wind of the beach of Boracay, Philippines, where the sand is like sugar and the water is blue. Memory, like the corner of my eye. That's the way we are. Afterwards, she wouldn't sing anything else. She'd just run back into the kitchen, laugh like a Smurf, and make more pancit noodles. At night, she'd make me and my two younger sisters pray the rosary in front of a 4-foot Mary statue standing on a huge green serpent. I call the statue Our Lady of Loch Ness. "What is the first sorrowful mystery?" my mom would say in her hallucinatory crucible trance. And I'd say, "Well, Mom, they all range from sorrowful to boring. Could I please watch Dynasty now?" "Regie, if you watch Dynasty, you will dynasty. And the Blessed Mother will not put you on the honor roll. Look at Romeo del Rosario. He is on the honor roll and going to be post-scholarship at St. Christopher's School of the Glorious Ascension and Immaculate Conception of the Sea and Stars. Why cannot you be too like him, anak? You are smart too." "But Mom, I don't want to go to all-boy Catholic school. I want to go to Performing Arts School, the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C. "Regie, who is a Duke Ellington? And Washington, D.C. is so far and dangerous, somebody will poke your head there. Dad, listen to this boy talk. Don't you know that they're making sacrifices for you and sacrifices for you all the time? And you have to stay in all-boy Catholic school, see? The Blessed Mother gives me a sign, see? My hand is shaking with the gift of prophecy. Mom, that's arthritis. It is not arthritis. Remember when the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mother was in the living room? And when I take a shower, I reach for the shampoo, and the shampoo spilled on the tile in the image of the Blessed Virgin Mother. That is why Our Lady of Perth Plus is watching over us, and she is talking to me. Hello, Blessed Mother. Tell Reggie he has to have girlfriend later when he is 30 years old, because if he has girlfriend, it would lead to mortal sins. I knew about sins because I went to confession every week. I didn't mind because our pastor was Father McGregor. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. My last confession was yesterday. I know it's a sin to disobey your parents, but I scheduled an audition at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I already have a dance choreographed, and I need a 3-minute monologue. I didn't have a monologue, so I took Jennifer Beals' monologue in the movie Flashdance, and I took all her lines, and it just comes to under 3 minutes. But what I really need help with, Father, is with my dance. Well, I never made it into the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Instead, I went to Bishop McNamara High School, where for my senior year, I got the title role in the play Dracula. But with all the white makeup on, I looked like Yoko Ono, Dracula. But I knew that I could be more than Yoko Ono, so I auditioned for television parts, and I got a call back to be on America's Most Wanted. Reggie, that is so good for you. I know that you could be the killer. So she was praying that I would be the killer. She went to church, and she was praying to everyone at church for me to be the killer. Oh, let him be the killer, let him be the killer, let him be the killer. Pray for my son to be the killer, the killer, the killer. And I finally was the killer. And everyone came up to my mom and they said, Mrs. Cabico, your son was so great on America's Most Wanted. And she said, oh, well, yes, he was always very mean to me and his sisters. I got my first theater role as a servant with no lines. I'd be coming home late at night, and I would see my mom through the windows, pacing back and forth. Reggie, psst, where were you? I thought you died in a car accident. Psst, come here, I want to show you something. And my mom would take me into the other side of the living room where there's this huge light. And I didn't know what it was. Maybe it was a UFO, or maybe the Blessed Mother herself is appearing right in the living room. And as I got closer to the light, I saw that it was a trophy with all of my all of my awards. I said, Mom, what's this? And she said, Reggie, this is your shrine. I thought that because your dad is coming from a poor family, that he will work hard. But instead, he is always going out gallivanting, playing mahjong all the time. I know that you're going to be an actor, and when you're an actor, do not do these soap operas because you will lead the people to sin. Reggie, why don't you be like Oprah? Reggie, you are my Oprah. But Mom, I'm just a servant with no lines. I'm a killer on America's Most Wanted. I'm not the patron saint to your immigrant dreams, Mom. I'm not your Oprah. Learning to be my father's son. You were a Carabao lifting rice sacks under the Pangasinan sun, a handsome sailor on his way to Greece. Instead, found a Filipino nurse who hummed Elvis tunes. She thought America would be a Technicolor beach, but she arrived during the coldest Baltimore winter, surprised by foods like pizza. You bought a house with a fireplace. It was romantic, Mom said. While mom worked late shifts taking care of babies in Southeast DC, you watched basketball, the bounce of your belt breaking me when I was 3 for twisting the controls of the portable TV, called me destroyer. You fed me the finest adobo, stews of blood, garlic, chili peppers. When driving me to piano lessons, you said you could never eat a piano. Dad, you could turn so red and jolly, you convinced all the neighbors that you should play Santa Claus. When you were really hiding a temper that left fists through doors. The house you bought is boarded up with too many holes to be sold. The gorgeous cherry tree you killed with insecticides, gone too. I want to know if you ever saw me, Dad. You hiding behind a hammock in sunglasses. Saw the boy you made rub your back for a nickel. I am tired of growing fat like you, now that you've become that apathetic sack of rice buried in the fields. What can I do to make it worth the miles? I want to play a sonata of love for you, arpeggios of anger, scaling 32 years of tears for you, metronome clicks for disappointment in you. My hands reach out to lift you higher than the volcanoes where gods gave man rice, and from the altitudes of angels, I am not afraid to say, I've come home. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. I think I would like to hear a little bit from you. It is an honor to be back here for 25 years of the Asian Student Center here with Sheila and with Angela. I will be offended if you don't call me for the 50th year. I promise I'll have some new material. And maybe a little bit from you, and then I might just close with one piece if there's time. You are so kind and generous. Is there anyone that would like to just chat and dialogue, and maybe what I've said sparks conversation? And then if not, I'd love to read from a new piece that I haven't really read out loud, so I'd love to do that. And then so Angela and Sheila, is it still the same? Is it still the same? Sometimes I would, huh? Oh, okay. Hello.
So in your piece about dating or going on that date with that pre-law guy,
Yeah.
You described yourself as like a brown person, like two brown people going after one person, and you talked about like the histories of colonization, referred to the X as like another island that was colonized.
Another colonized U.S. territory.
Yeah. And do you ever feel like do you ever feel like you want to get out of seeing yourself, or do you see yourself in that like marginalized way? And like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think it's problematic if you're dating a white guy and all he dates are brown people. And so, like, what does that mean? And I was dating a younger guy last year who is not of color, he's white. And but he seems really progressive, like Apple's parents, Canadian. And so you're sort of wondering, how do you negotiate that, right? How do you negotiate those dynamics? And I don't really have an answer about that. I am just trying to see where my heart goes and sort of try to maneuver that. But I know that if the guy was of color, that there are more things that we could be involved with, and we could do more together, and I could do more. But it's really hard to say. Even going out with a guy where potentially the whole family is very positive and liberal and open, like where does it stop, and can that really happen? Do I feel marginalized? I didn't perform the Game Boy piece, but there's a line that I did earlier this afternoon where it's like, I'm not a teriyaki toy, a Rice Queen's dream, a bowl of soy sauce to dip your meat in. And so everyone goes, ooh. And like now in my older age, I say, I am not a teriyaki toy, a Rice Queen's dream, a bowl of soy sauce to dip your meat in. Well, maybe, I don't know, let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue. Let's like open up the discussion. So I don't know how I feel. And in some ways, being as old as I am now, and as Sheila says, I don't really care anymore. Pick our battles, you know? And I'm looking at my friends who are in their 20s, and I'm seeing how in your 20s you're willing to cut off certain people without really seeing the potential resource. And I think when you're 20, the biggest resource is you, so you feel like you have to cut off people. And so at this point in my life, I am trying to not cut off people. I feel like I've done that enough. And so at this point, I'm trying to negotiate that. I am trying to be a good person in a very, very stressful career of education and performance. Yeah?
It wasn't mentioned too much in what you presented, but I was wondering, as someone who wants to get into urban education, what led you to teaching in DC?
It was an evolution of teaching artist work. It just started to grow. So I'm probably one of the few teachers that can teach performance as well as writing. So I fuse that. So I'm not like traditional poets that would be teaching. I use improvisation, and I want my students to feel something. So I try to put the feelings and then the image. And so that's how I started to teach. But I was also teaching in the Bellevue Psychiatric Hospital. So I was working with youth there in the psychiatric ward. So that's how I really learned how to really teach, because when you're in a psychiatric ward and students don't want to write, how do you get them to write? So that has been an evolution. Teaching is not for everyone. I think people think that it's, oh, I'm just going to teach because I love kids. But there's more to it than that. So you really, and you know, sometimes they don't have the energy to do that. It's as soon as you walk into a school, everyone is like, hi, Mr. Regie, hi, Mr. Regie, hi, Mr. Regie. And so like you're on, like the whole time. So at the same time, there's nothing else that I would love to do than that, right? So, so Angela, is it still the same? Because I don't think it's been about a good 16 years since you've seen me live on stage. So I feel like I'm in Las Vegas. It's like, you know,
Still the headliner.
Tom Jones live. Just Wikipedia. I feel that. Like in Las Vegas, 5 shows a day.
How do you say you changed during these years? Like, compare right now and 25 years ago, perhaps?
Well, internet was not around yet in 93, 94. Like, I just think like 97 is when it picked up. So anyway, like there was no internet. There was no YouTube. A lot of my performances are on videotape. So it's sad, or beta or high 8. So it's really sad that some of these things are on VHS tapes. So if I were starting now, all of my performances would be documented. So really the documentation of things have changed a little bit. I feel the politics have changed. In 1994, I was in an Asian erotic anthology called On a Bed of Rice, which sounded good in 1994, but in 2018, that would not work. And the cover is a naked Asian woman with a nipple, like surrounded by rice. I was also in a Filipino anthology called Flippin', which I don't think that title would fly today. So I feel like just the political understanding of things have changed a bit now. And I would say that the millennial population, very, very fast to call out things that are appropriation and very fast on it, to the point where I have to look at my poems. And even after I spot check them, there's still more things that are problematic. And it's very, very frustrating. But I've learned to just say thank you for letting me know. And that's it. And really, to tell you the truth, they will write a 3-page thing about how this was so bad and how I am like almost a cultural rapist. And then there's no conversation about it, no dialogue, no getting to understand my work or what I do. So I feel that now we're in an age where we're trying to unite and we're all disassembled and we're trying to piece each other in, you know? So hyper aware. Last 2 weeks ago, I had to scream at a 5th grade boy. Granted, this is probably one of the toughest schools in Washington, D.C., throwing paper at students, bullying them. And I shouted and yelled and said, no one in this class likes you. You know, why are you doing this? To the point where I had crossed the line. And so even in that work, I cannot do that. And so, you know, the offenses that I may commit accidentally hurt me deeply. So I don't know if it's just middle age or my testosterone overload or underload, but I guess I'm feeling more empathy in a new way. And maybe it's just because you're growing older that I feel that.
And you're a very successful poet right now. Like, how is that your clear identity, Filipino American positive background, or education, or personality? Which one affects you most, like during this process? Like if you are going to give some suggestion to young Asian queer people, you know, just some life experience.
It's all of them. It's all of them. Like from all sides and all themes. And so I think every artist just has to be in dialogue and just say thank you for, and that's about it. But again, I think, as I said, a lot of people want to do it on social media or in a Facebook thread. Oh, we talked about it on the Facebook thread. But the Facebook thread is not like being in a room and speaking, right? Or even like you can't Skype it, or Zoom it, or Facebook video that. Like, I'm not really sure. So I'm really feeling that when I book poets, I need to have a conversation with you. I'm tired of everything being done by text. So if I'm booking a speaker, people are just fine without any kind of, I need to just talk to you on the phone at the minimum. So you could hear my voice and I can hear your voice. So that way there is that exchange and not text. I can't even deal with it when poets are reading from their phones. And look, I have done it and I understand it, but like I've seen people at weddings doing their speech on their phones. So like, I just don't know. So I feel that that's sort of part of the disconnect. Yes, Roger.
First of all, thank you so much for coming here. And as I told you, I came out of something like a sick bed to come and see you again.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, you didn't. Here I am, man. Here I am. And thank you again. And it brings back really wonderful memories. I know this is a good question, but where do you get your material from? You know, all artists get their material from someplace, I guess. Where do you get your material from?
I read poems. I have a conversation with someone. The conversation becomes this idea. I think, oh, what if, right? So it could be something that I see. So I saw A Wrinkle in Time, and I forgot the book, but I was looking at the New York Times video with the director, and she said that, oh, well, one of the women changed themselves into a centaur in the book, but we decided to change her into a leaf plant. And so, because it would be more interesting. So then I decided I'm going to write a poem about the centaur complains about Wrinkle in Time, where the centaurs feel leaf washed in the representation of centaurs. So I thought I would write that persona poem. So sometimes I have these what if scenarios. And so then that will get me going into something comedic. But then sometimes I think it's hard to be funny in this age because people are very, very serious. So when Kathy Griffin is holding a Donald Trump head, it's really hard for comedians to communicate art in a way that's not going to be offensive. And so as a poet who exaggerates and hyperbolizes, how do you navigate in this age, you know? So how do I get my material? Things that happen in my family, and sometimes they don't get written yet. Like Asian American Literary Review, Lawrence Minbui Davis said, we're doing a book on curses, can you write a curse? So I have to write a curse on diabetes. And so I'm like, let me figure this out. So sometimes people will ask me to do something, and then it will just come out. Or sometimes I'm going through a painful process, and then that piece will come out. So one more question, and I'm just going to close with this last poem, if that's okay. And you've been so, so generous. Yes, Ryan?
So I guess my question is sort of politically charged. I know you mentioned earlier today, and I saw you earlier, that people are very quick to criticize President Duterte, but they don't know the full story. Can you just elaborate more and talk about that? Because I know us as a Filipino student organization here on campus, we're very quick to judge his policies and his actions in more sort of negative light when sharing with our members.
So this is going to be a whole other poem. Now I feel, because of all of this, my Filipino identity and being a Filipino has to come into dialogue again. So I did a panel last week about, the panel was themed, it was around an Atlantic Monthly article by Alex Tizon, who was writing an article about the Filipino maid that raised him. And there were comments on the feed. And this is like billions of readers were reading this beautiful article. First of all, they said, oh, it's a good thing that Alex Tizon is discovered. First of all, Alex Tizon has won a Pulitzer Prize previously, so I don't think that you can say that he's rediscovered. So they need to research the people that they are saying is not known before they say that someone's not known. But people were talking about how awful the maid culture is in the Philippines, and these are from non-Filipinos, maybe from people of color, maybe from non-people of color. But the question is, how do you attack without having the dialogue or the understanding for us to really process it when we as Filipinos haven't had a chance to really process that? And the same thing could be said about Duterte, which you ask any Filipino, they sigh and they say, well. And if you look at the way that Filipino Americans have been fed by the U.S. Army and the Republican stance of things, and people who grew up with Duterte, and the problem, like with all of that, how do you balance all of that and all of the killings that are unjust? But there's a part of me that admires Duterte for saying "fuck you" to everyone else, and this is our country, and we're going to be us. Yet we want to be you, America, at the same time, right? So where is that dialogue? And Manny Pacquiao for president, and I think Lea Salonga should just run for president, and that would be just end of story. So I don't know. So the question is, this is where Filipinos have to be a little bit more vocal about this in response. I am also tired of Filipino restaurants. I really am. I've given up on them. I really want to give my money to a Filipino restaurant. So every time I go, the only thing that I'm satisfied with are the cocktails and the desserts. I have been disappointed by pancit in every freaking restaurant because they're not making pancit. The last Filipino restaurant I went had pancit bihon with a poached egg. Who puts a poached egg on a pancit bihon? You're just gonna get like noodle goo. You're gonna have noodle gusit is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have pancit, it's like noodle gusit. And so I get sorely disappointed. There is a Filipino restaurant on Spring Street, Spring and Lafayette in New York. I see a big Filipino face, good sign. I go in, I'm hungry. I go in, I see white people behind the counter. White people, thank God they're not wearing barongs. So that was all right. But I see white people behind the counter, and like there's this like turnstile, and they won't let me through. It's like immigration. And they're like, well, you need to look at the sign. And I am looking, and I see kimchi fried rice on the Filipino menu. And they're like, well, it's a Filipino taqueria. What? It's like we have adobo, taco. And I'm like, oh man, all right. So I'm like looking at this, and I'm gonna get the three things where I test a Filipino restaurant. I do like the barbecue skewer, either chicken or pork. I'll do the pancit bihon. They don't have any lumpia, which is a crime. So I try that, and they don't even have white rice, so I have to get the kimchi fried rice. And then I'm looking at the calamansi, and I'm like, excuse me, how do you make the calamansi? Oh, well, calamansi, it's just like this little citrus one. I'm like, don't you fucking tell me what calamansi is. I know what calamansi is. Did you buy that shit from Trader Joe, or like, is it like from the real fruit? Just tell me how you make it. Just tell me how you make it. That's it. All right, well, I don't want that, but thank you. So then I'm eating the pancit, and it's pad thai. It is pad thai bihon, because it really has a pad thai consistency. And that is not pancit. And the thing is that people who don't know Filipino food are going to think kimchi fried rice is Filipino food, that a poached egg is pancit. At the Filipino restaurant, down the thing was this hot white frat guy eating a balut. And he's like really drunk. He goes, oh man, I want to eat this balut, man. Like, do you dare me to eat this? And like part of me is sort of like really offended that this like guy is sort of making fun of this food. But at the same time, part of me is turned on. I'm like, yeah, you want my balut? You better eat it. You better suck it. You like it? Yeah, take all of it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. So I got turned on a little bit, so I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how to put that in the poem. So on that note, let me just close I'm just going to close with a short piece. It's called Edward Hopper's Office in the Small City. So sometimes paintings will do it. Edward Hopper's Office in the Small City. And so it's really a guy looking out a window, and there's like half a building. I am jealous of the sky expanding and expanding. Breathe in, breathe out. A metropolis oblivious to collisions. Fame slams against a tall white building. Money runs out like a cab ride to nowhere. In this hour, I have lost everything. Not even this blue, in its most opulent light, can forgive me. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Happy 25 years to you, Asian students. What do I say? Asian Student Union, Asians. Thank you. Asian American Cultural Center. Thank you, Angela. You're in my heart, you, Sheila. Thank you so, so much for, again, my career is as old as a center here. So, and I don't know what I would have done without all of the years that I've met with the students and all of them becoming close friends, and 25 more. And okay, well, let's see, let's like make it happen. Okay.
I'll be somewhere, but not here.
All right, we'll have the Angela Shrine hologram. By then, there'll be some technology where it's like Angela will do that. So.
Well, give it up for Reggie.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you all for coming.